back to another episode of the Christian Apologist podcast and YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're having a very blessed Monday, the beginning of the week for most of us. Today, I just want to talk about the Roe versus Wade, the abortion debacle that's going on right now in our country. I really just have a hard time trying to understand why this is even an issue. I really do. I mean, I don't ever understand how we got to a point where we said it is okay to kill babies. Like, when was that ever okay? Like, I don't understand how that's okay. And they say it should be a women's right, it's women's choice. But, a lot of these babies that they're killing are little girls. They are women. So where is their rights? Where are their voice? We need to be their voices. They can't speak for themselves. And, and I've said this before on many other videos, but most people that are for abortion always want to sit there and talk about that 1% of the people that are molested or raped or incest. And it's literally counts for 1% of all abortions. And, and I've had multiple discussions with people that are pro-choice. And when I say, okay, well, if we take out that 1%, if we just say it's okay for them to do it, would you agree with banning abortion for everything else? And they say no. So that just makes you wonder, why do you even bring up that 1%? Because that's not what it's about. You're just trying to justify your own reasoning of why you think it's okay to kill a child. And it's never okay. So, let me ask you like this. When is it ever okay to kill a child for the sin of their father? I mean, think about it. That's exactly what's going on here if this is a rape, molestation, or incest situation. You are willing to kill a child for the sin of his father. If that's the case, nobody should be alive because every single one of our fathers have sinned. So it doesn't make no sense. But I am so glad that the United States is finally screwing their head on straight, getting in the ball game and saying this is wrong. Killing a child is wrong. I don't care how you want to put it, how you want to look at it. It is wrong. I live in Lubbock, Texas, and I am so glad that our city has banned abortion within the city limits. I understand it's just a city and it's not that very big and everything else. But I'm so glad that I live in a place that took a stand saying that we are not going to allow this. I mean, that's just pathetic that you think it's, or not you, but people in general think it's ever okay to have an abortion. And you know what? I've had family members that have had have abortions. I've had 2 family members to be exact. And I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to embarrass them. Because it is embarrassing. I mean, when it boils down to it, it's an embarrassing thing, and it's a shameful thing to say that you killed a child. And they know how I feel about it. And no, I don't rub it in their faces, and nobody should rub it into their faces. It should be a very tough choices. But, I keep seeing all these little videos of women celebrating abortions. Why would you celebrate killing a child? That is bizarre. That is evil to celebrate the killing of a child. I even had some people that have actually sit there and try to say, well, they don't consider it a baby. They don't consider it a living being or a child yet because it can't breathe on its own. It can't eat on its own. It can't fend for itself. It can't do anything without the mother. So it's dependent upon the mother. And so in those kind of scenarios, I do like to point out some different situations. For one, let us just suppose that a dear relative of yours, and I pray not, but let's just use this as a scenario for now. Let's say a dear relative was in a very bad car accident, and now they are in a coma. They're on a feeding tube. They're on a breathing machine. They're on life support. But the doctor does say there's a 99% chance that this loved one of yours is going to come out of the coma and is going to make a full recovery and be completely okay, probably within 9 months or so. Do you opt out to go ahead and pull the plug and have them murdered? I mean, because what would be the difference? They can't breathe on their own. They can't fend for themselves. They can't eat for themselves. They're dependent upon a machine. So, do you go ahead and just pull the plug, even though the doctor said that there's a highly 99.9% chance that this child or that this loved one is going to make it out just fine? No, of course you don't. That would be absurd. It would be absurd. Like, you can't even think of that. That doesn't even register in your mind because you know how absurd it sounds. So, what makes it any different when it's a baby or a fetus or whatever you want to call it? The point is that most of those babies are going to live and be just fine. Now, I understand if you're part of, if you, and I'm sorry if this happened to you, but if it was rape or incest or molestation that caused you to get impregnated, I am so sorry for that. And you need a preacher to go to for that. And I'm not a preacher. But what I can tell you, there's other options other than killing the child. You can give it up for adoption. You can give it to family members. There are things that you can do to let that baby live. That child does not deserve to die. And I can't not believe, like, I was watching the news the other day, and there are people out there protesting. They are protesting like something really bad has happened because they want to get rid of abortion. They want to illegalize abortion. And don't sit there and give me all that bull crap about how, oh, well, if you make abortion illegal, then you're going to have a lot of women dying because they're going to be doing like back alley type abortions. What? How does that even make sense? Yeah, let's not put any locks on the doors because that might make a burglar break in and he could hurt himself. I mean, that's stupid. I mean, come on, people. That is not even logical. It's not reasonable. I mean, if you're willing to do something to put yourself in danger because it's not legal and you know the ramifications of what could possibly happen because of what you're doing could physically harm you, if not kill you, and you choose to opt out and do it anyway, all because you don't want to let another person live? I mean, how is that a defense to make abortion legal or illegal? That shouldn't even be an option. That's just pathetic. I mean, it's like one of those things where it's saying, oh, well, people are going to do drugs anyway, so hey, let's pass out free needles. At least they can have clean needles and they won't be like, trading needles and getting infections. We don't want these drug addicts that choose to do drugs illegally to get infections. No, you don't make it easier for people. You make it harder for people. That's why you make drugs illegal, because it makes it harder for them to get. You don't make it easier because you know they're going to get it anyway. Same thing with abortion. You don't make it legal just because you know women are going to try to do it anyway. That's stupid. I wish I could think of another word, but that's just stupid. I mean, that's like, how are you even going to argue that? I mean, seriously, that's not even an argument. I mean, is that really the best you can do? But I am so glad that the country is finally coming together and getting their heads on straight and saying, you know what, this isn't right. I mean, honestly, it took us long enough to get there. What is it, like over 30, 40 years? 50 years, somewhere around there, like since the 70s, like early 70s, mid 70s. I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm just glad that it's finally, hopefully, starting to move more towards saving a life. And you know what? This isn't even about Christianity. This isn't about a God. This is just about human rights. This is just about saying, hey, it is wrong to take a life. And every single one of us knows it. We are born with it. We are born with it in our hearts and in our souls. The Bible tells us that, but you don't need the Bible to tell you that because it's in your conscience. You just know right from wrong, and you know that abortion, you know that killing a person, and that's another thing. Why do they keep calling it abortion? I call it abortion. Everybody keeps calling it abortion. But I think what we need to do is we need to navigate away from words that just don't seem so harsh. Because I think that's what it is. I think the harsher it sounds, the more people want to navigate away from it and use total different words so that way it doesn't sound as bad. It's not abortion, it's murder. Let's just get that out in the open. Abortion is a made up word for killing babies. That's what that is. It's murdering a baby. That's what abortion is. In fact, they need to put that in a definition, like in a dictionary somewhere. Abortion, the definition is murdering of innocent babies. That's what abortion is. And that's what we need to be calling it. We don't need to sit there and sugarcoat and pussyfoot around about what things actually are anymore. I don't care about your feelings. Okay? Your feelings don't trump facts. These are facts. Facts trump your feelings. It doesn't matter who you are, that's the way it goes. And if that hurts your feelings, oh well, it is what it is because facts are facts. Truth is truth. And that's one thing that this society has gone away from. For some reason or another, we have put it into our minds that subjective truth, which if you don't know, subjective truth just means like, what's true for you? What's true for him? Like, what's true for me is I don't like, let's just say, and I love vanilla ice cream, but let's just say I don't like vanilla ice cream. That's a truth for me. That's a subjective truth. It doesn't speak anything about the objective truth. Objective truth means what's true for one person is true for everybody around the world at the exact same time because it's objectively true. Like if I sit there and say, oh, look at the sky today. Yeah, the sky is purple today. The sky is green today. The sky is red today. No, that's my subjective truth if I'm having a mental breakdown, but that's not the objective truth. The objective truth is the sky is blue. Of course, unless there's clouds, but the sky is blue. So that's the difference. And for some reason now in today's society, we have this thing where we believe that subjective truth should trump objective truth. And that's completely and utterly ridiculous. Your feelings, your subjective truth doesn't speak anything about the real world events, about the real objective truth. It just tells people about your psychology. It just tells people about what you're thinking and how your thought processes work. But it's not objectively true. And for some reason in today's world, we got this thing where, oh, it hurts my feelings. It hurts his feelings. It hurts her feelings. Oh, we shouldn't say that. It hurts people's feelings. But if it's objectively true, then it shouldn't matter if it hurts people's feelings or not. Because feelings don't make a difference when it comes to having the truth, when it comes to facts. And so when it comes to this whole thing with abortion, no, that's your subjective opinion if you want to say it's not a child yet. But, biologically, it is a child. It is a human being. It is a fetus, and it will become a child, and it will become into the world as a human being, but it has a heartbeat at a very early age. And even if it doesn't, you're stopping the process of a child being born. So don't think it just goes there. Don't be like, oh, well, what if we just do abortion from before it has a heartbeat and before? No, because you're stopping the process. So you're still committing murder. You're still committing a crime. I mean, that makes no sense either. So it's I'm trying to think of a good analogy to think of here, so it can be broken down just a little bit easier for people to understand. So just give me a second here. It'd be more like, if I know something is going to prevent someone from dying, okay? If I know that I can do something that will prevent them from dying, and if I don't do it, did you know that most courts in the United States, if they know this information, they will still find you guilty to uh, accessible to murder. Like you're helping that person murder or hurt themselves or commit suicide or whatever the situation is. Like you're supposed to do everything you can possibly do to stop them from hurting someone else or hurting themselves. So that's no different than saying, oh, well, if it happens before a heartbeat, it doesn't matter if it had a heartbeat or not. You're stopping the process from happening. That should not be allowed. That is still considered murder. And, I just don't understand how we can sit there and claim all day long and have all these people protesting and marching and all these people sitting there saying that we need more human rights when you aren't giving babies any rights. Y'all aren't giving them any. So how are you going to claim rights for everyone else when you can't even protect the innocent children? And Jesus said that we need to not hinder the little ones. We do not need to hurt the little ones. So that is kind of my 2 cents on the whole Wade versus Roe thing. But I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say. It'll probably come up in a lot more different episodes. But I am very, very, very glad that the United States is finally on board with making abortion illegal. And I hope every city and state follows suit and just makes it completely illegal. And that way, at least then, I understand abortions are still going to happen. I'm not naive. I understand women are still going to do what it takes to have abortions, and they might hurt themselves in the process. I understand that, and I hope they don't do that, and I feel sorry for them if they do that. But I'm so glad that the United States as a whole, as a country, is saying, no, we are not going to condone murdering of innocent children. Now, from a Christian perspective, why does this make me happy? Because one, every time we commit murder, which y'all call abortion, which they call abortion nowadays, we are killing the image of God. That is what we're doing. We're killing the image of God. And if you haven't noticed, things have not been going great for the United States lately. It seems as if God's pulling away his presence from the United States. Because even though we have a very diverse religious culture in our country, we are still the number one Christian nation in the world, believe it or not. And that's sad because if you look around, you wouldn't think that. It's very sad, but it's true. We're still the number one nation. And God has been pulling away his presence from us. I do believe that. And that's why I believe the weather's gone crazy. That's why I believe people are going crazier. That's why I believe there's a lot more murdering going on. That's why I believe there's a lot more deaths going on. And when I say murder, I'm including abortions in that. So yeah, it's not as if God's punishing us, and that's what a lot of Christians, I'm not going to say a lot, but some Christians think that, and some other religions think that God is punishment is like a form of karma, and I don't believe in karma, but I do believe that God can pull his presence away from us, and the more presence he pulls away from us, the more chaos and evil is going to happen in this country. The more we pull away from what is the actual objective truth, God's going to pull away his presence from us. And so that's why all this craziness is going on nowadays. It isn't because God is doing something to us. He's just removing himself from the situation. He's removing himself from us. Because if we're going to keep rejecting him as a nation, if we're going to keep killing innocent children as a nation, if we're going to keep pushing God out of schools, if we're going to keep pushing God out of the courtrooms and wherever else, all these people like to push God out of, then he's going to slowly pull himself away because he's going to be like, okay, well, if they don't want me, then I will leave them alone. It's the same thing as if it's a boyfriend and girlfriend. If the girl keeps pushing the guy away and the guy keeps coming and coming and coming, the girl's like, holy cow, this guy's really pushy. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. You're going to say, oh my gosh, this guy's really pushy. He don't get the hint. I don't want nothing to do with him. He needs to leave me alone. And That's exactly what the situation is right now. And so God's like, you know what? Okay, I get it. Y'all don't want me. I'm pulling away. I'm pulling away. I still love you, but I'm pulling away. Y'all don't want me. I love you. You don't love me. I'm pulling away. I'm giving you what you want. And that is not what we want, people. That's not what we want. I don't care what religion you believe in. I don't care if you're an atheist. I promise you, that's the last thing you want. We all have some of God's grace right now on earth. If we didn't have God's grace right now, we wouldn't be able to experience love, kindness, joy. We wouldn't be able to experience none of those if it wasn't for God's grace that is on this world and on this nation right now. And so the further He pulls away from us, the more you're going to see you're going to see less of joy, love, happiness. I mean, people sit there and say, oh, we're the most diverse country in the world and we're acceptable for everything. Have you looked around lately? Not a lot of people are happy anymore. They're not happy. And the reason being is because this is what God's doing. He's pulling His grace away from us. But this Roe versus Wade in the United States saying that abortion is illegal, hopefully God starts giving us a little bit more of that grace. And people, that is exactly what hell is. Hell is living without the presence of God at all for all of eternity. It's just going to be a world that is full of narcissistic and hatred. That is what hell is going to be. There's going to be no love, no joy, no happiness, just a bunch of narcissistic people and hatred. And you know what's sad to say is that it's almost starting to get there now. And it's because of what we are doing. I'm not blaming anybody else. I'm blaming us as a whole, as a nation, as a country. We need to turn back around, turn to God, and get our nation back under control, back under objective truth. And that's the way it should be. And that's the way we're going to earn back some of God's grace. But you know, if it doesn't happen, it wouldn't surprise me because it's all written about in the Bible. None of this is a surprise. None of this is a surprise to God. God saw the beginning to the end before He even created any of this. So none of this is a surprise. And so we just got to put our trust into Him who knows the beginning to the end. You all have a blessed week and God bless.